Hi everybody, I'm here back at it again with another video. It's your girl Tiana, and if you can hear anything like in the background, that is my fan. I'd turn it off, but it's almost June and I live in the South, so it's about 90 degrees outside. I'm gonna have to keep that fan on. Sorry about it. Hopefully it won't be distracting. But anyway, so today I just wanted to come on here and talk about a subject that's really been like, again, noodling around in my brain. You know, I think about stuff for a long time before I like make an opinion. Like, I'm not one of the people who is like quick to have an opinion on something. Like, I have to think about it, overthink it, if you will, and really come to how I feel. And something that's really just been bugging me, and I couldn't quite put like all the facts and the figures together to have like a full opinion until I finally sat down yesterday and was like, let me just really think about this. Let me make a video and let me really think about this issue. So the issue specifically is about the lack of Black girls on children's programming, right? So now that we have like the focus, the theme, I want to talk about how we got there and how I made the realization that there aren't really any Black girls in children's media, right? So the first thing, you should follow me on Twitter. I'll put that on the screen. And that's where this discussion kind of really started, where I was laying in my bed on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, as I tend to do. And on my TV was Nickelodeon. Now, I don't watch Nickelodeon really. I only watch Nickelodeon at night when I'm going to sleep, because I find like Hey Arnold like very calming, and the Rugrats very calming to sleep to. So I usually turn that on before I go to bed, which means if my TV doesn't automatically turn off, which sometimes it just randomly won't, when I wake up in the morning, I tend to see whatever is currently playing on Nickelodeon. So the shows that are always constantly on Nickelodeon are iCarly, Victorious, Cat and Sam, right? And all three of these shows are Dan Snyder shows, right? So I'm a girl. I'm a teenage girl. I'm a woman of a certain age. I'm a millennial, so I came up in the era of the Dan Snyder Nickelodeon show. Like, there was no Dan Snyder Nickelodeon show that I did not watch when it was airing, because I was right in that right target demographic. Like, I watched Kenan and Kel. I watched all that. I watched Jerk and Josh. I watched iCarly. I watched Zoe 101, like Victorious. I kind of aged out of the Sammy Cats and the what's the show? Game Shakers, and Henry Danger. That was a little bit after the time that I would have been watching the Dan Snyder shows. But the peak Dan Snyder, right? The Amanda shows, the What I Hates About You. I mean, What I Like About You. Yeah, What I Like About You. Like those were like the shows that were very important to me as a kid. I watched all the time, loved my favorite shows, and I realized when I was watching iCarly a couple different times that the way, in Victorious too, the way they treat Black female characters is, to just be frank about it, racist. Like, and I really wanted to like really think back, because I was like, certainly I'm being sensitive, right? Certainly this is something that I'm making up. Like, certainly this wouldn't air. Like, they wouldn't have just blatantly racist depictions of Black girls and women on a children's show and it not be like I have to be making this up. Like, this has to be a one-off thing, something that kind of slid past. But when I really thought about these shows, like when I really thought about the Dan Snyder universe, there are no Black girls. Like, there are zero Black girls. Like, and I did a whole series of tweets talking specifically about Dan Snyder, and I might at some point make a video specifically about Dan Snyder shows. The only thing that's really stopping me is I don't want to rewatch iCarly, because it's a terrible show and I hate it. But And in that thread, like, that I talked about, the Dan Snyder show specifically, I spoke about how there's only 2 Dan Snyder shows of like this 16 or 15 or something shows that he's created or executive produced that have black female main characters. One of them is Kenan and Kel, and that character is Alexis Fields, who she wasn't even a main character in the first season. I think she came in like season 2 or 3. And she was just a love interest. And then Kira, who was Kel's sister, Kenan's sister, and she didn't ever really have a storyline, but she was credited as a main character. When I looked up like the show, she was credited as a main character. So if they say she was a main character, I guess she was a main character. I watched the show. She didn't feel like a main character to me, but they said she was a main character. So they have that show had 2. And then there was a girl on Zoe 101 that was dating Michael. I remember. I don't know if she ever was a main character, but I do remember she was a prominent character on that show. And I cannot for the life of me remember what the other... Oh, Henry Danger. Henry Danger has a black girl on there. I don't watch Henry Danger, however my little cousin does, so I have seen episodes of Henry Danger. And also, like I said, my TV is on Nick sometimes, so I've seen the episodes of Henry Danger, so I know it's a black girl on that show, and I think she is a main character. Like I said, I haven't watched the show in full, so I can't tell you the extent of her storyline, but from what I've seen, it looks like she is a main character on the show. So there's the only 2 shows that have black girls in the listed main characters on the show, of all the shows that he's done. Like, and then the shows that have black male main characters are kind of just black best friend TMs. Like, you get Andre on Victorious, who his main point on the show is to help Tori succeed at her dreams. Like, literally, he would write these great, amazing songs, and instead of using them for himself or his own benefit, he would give them to Tori. Like, Tori was not a songwriter. She never wrote a single song on that show. Like, I lied. There might have been one episode where she had to write a song for a class, but outside of that, every song that she sung on that show was a song written by Andre, and he never got as much attention or shine. And then there was even an episode where she stole one of his songs, but that's whatever. And then we have, like I said earlier, Michael on Victorious, who I don't know, I can't think of a single storyline that he had that mattered to the show. And then What I Like About You had Wesley. I don't even remember what his character's name was. Was it Gary? I'm pretty sure it was Gary. And I can't think of a single plot line that he had that mattered outside of Amanda Bynes, but that, you know, whatever. But this video is not specifically about Dan Snyder. It just, you know, made something click in my brain when I was watching Victorious, and I saw how one of the female, black female characters, who was just like an outside character, like she wasn't a main character, she probably wasn't even in any other episode beside the one that I was watching. And then I was like, and I thought about every other female character black female character that I had ever seen on Victorious, and I don't think that has ever been a positive depiction. Like, there was an episode when Andre was dating a black girl, and she was like, the whole point was that she was terrible and mean and he hated her, but the only reason why he was still dating her was because her dad was an important person in the music industry and could give him like access to wherever he wants. So he was essentially using her. But then we weren't meant to feel bad for her. We weren't meant to feel like Andre was in the wrong. We were supposed to be like, well, that's what she gets because she was terrible. But so that took me down the track of trying to remember the black female characters on TV currently. Like, I don't watch like a bunch of children's television anymore. I do like teen dramas and teen stuff, but I don't watch a bunch of children's television at all because I don't have any children and I don't have small children in my house. Like, my youngest sister is 14, so I guess she would be in that demographic of kids who should be watching those sorts of shows. but she doesn't watch TV, so I'm not even like passively watching anything. Like I said, the shows that I do, I have seen like Game Shakers, and Henry Danger has been viewed through having a younger cousin over who likes the show or has seen the show, or just waking up and the show being on my TV. But this gave me the idea of being like, well, let me look and see, right? Because just because you don't see something doesn't mean it isn't happening, right? Like, just because it's not in my purview, just because it's not on my radar, especially because I'm not the target demographic for this sort of media, does not mean that it doesn't exist. So I said, let me look. So I decided to look at the 3 main channels for children and see what the representation was looking like for Black girls, right? So I do want to say that I did not look at Netflix. I didn't look at like the CW or any of those channels, and I do know that they have teen dramas on there that may or may not have Black girls. I did not look at those channels. I'm not gonna so this is not a complete list of every single Black girl that's on TV at the time currently. Like, I know that there are other channels. I decided to do 3 main channels because those are the channels that I grew up watching, and those are the channels that had the most impact and emphasis for me as a kid. And those are the channels that I think about when I think about children's television. Like, when I'm thinking about children's television, I'm not thinking about the CW. When I'm thinking about children's television, I'm not even thinking about Netflix, even though maybe I should have looked at Netflix. Like, maybe Netflix might have been a better gauge, at least for the teen demographic of the representation. But honestly, if I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I don't think Netflix is doing too much better than anybody else. But anyway, so the 3 channels was Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and Cartoon Network. Those are the 3 channels that, like I said, I watched as a child. So let's start with Disney Channel. So Disney Channel has currently, and this is all from the information I gathered from like all the official media of these channels, of them saying these are the shows that are currently on the air. Okay, so don't come in the comments and tell me about, oh, this show that just went off the air starred 406 Black girls and they all had great developed storylines. If it's not currently on the air, I'm not talking about it, okay? So the first channel is Disney Channel. Disney Channel currently has 28 shows that are airing, okay? We have Bumped, Raven's Home, Koopy and Kim, Ask the World, Sydney to the Max, Just Roll With It, Gabby Duran and the Unsittables. And those are the all the live action shows, right? Those are the shows that have like real actual human beings on their shows. Of those shows, the only ones that have Black girls in the cast is Bunked, which had Scott Jackson, but she left the show. And currently the only Black girl on there is Ava King, who plays Shelby. And honestly, I had to Google to see if she was Black. When I saw her picture, I was like, is that a Black girl? And I had to Google to see if she was Black. So that tells you all you need to say. Raven's Home, which is starring Raven-Symoné and her daughter. And there's one other Black character on that show. Listen to what I'm saying now. Raven's Home, starring Raven-Symoné with her Black daughter, only has one other Black female character on that show. Then we have Coop and Cammy, Ask the World, and on that show is Trinity Stokes, who was on that Zendaya show. What was it called? Keep It Up, Casey. She was on Keep It Up, Casey, or Casey. I feel like the name of the show is not Keep It Up, Casey, but whatever. So she was on that show, and apparently she's on this Coop and Cammy Ask the World show. I've never heard of the show, never seen the show. I don't know anything about it. So that's just what, when I looked it up, that's what who they said was on the show. Right. Sydney on the Max has no Black girls. Just Roll With It has no Black girls. Gabby Duran and the Unsittables has 0 Black girls. However, the show is a fully Latinx cast, so they get an asterisk because they might have it might be some Black girls on there, but they're not Black American or Black, like visibly Black. Like, they might be Afro Latinx. So I won't pretend to tell people their race. Like, I won't get into that sticky situation of Latinx versus Black, Afro Latinx versus Black. Like, I don't want no parts of that discussion. So I'll just put an asterisk for Gabby Duran and the Unsittables because the entire cast is Latinx. Honorable mention because the show just went off the air, if I'm not mistaken, and also I think it's a great show, is Andy Mack. And Andy Mack had Sophia Wilde, who was in the main cast, and also is biracial. I should have did how many of these black girls is biracial. They don't have nothing to do with nothing. And then Kira, who I also think is biracial, who's on the show as black characters. If y'all haven't seen Andy Mack, you should watch Andy Mack because it's a great show. Okay, so then we're going to go to the animated shows. The animated shows is Elena of Avador, DuckTales, Big Hero 6, Big City Greens, Milo Murphy's Law, Amphibia, The Owl House, PJ Masks, Hotel Transylvania, Giganotosaurus, Go Away Unicorn, Miraculous Tales of Ladybird and Cat Noir, and Bluey. Alright, so Atlanta of Avalor again is a fully Latinx cast. There are no like black girls on there, but again, asterisks because it's fully Latinx. DuckTales is animals, so I won't hold that against them. Big Hero 6 has no black girls. Big City Greens has no black girls. And Big City Greens is one of those weird shows where the characters are human, but they're yellow. However, there is a little boy on that show who is visibly black. So they do have race on the show, and there are no black girls. And then Milo Murphy's Law is no. Amphibia, the main character, to me looked black. When I first saw clips of the show or parts of the show, I thought that the girl was black. However, she is voiced by Brenda Song, who is Thai. And I do know that Asian people do come in darker colors. So that sounded like a shoe release. That might be a little bit offensive. I mean that all Asian people aren't pale. There are brown people who are Asian, who are even East Asian who are brown. So I don't know what her race is. So again, we'll give it an asterisk. She looks brown or black to me. However, she is voiced by an Asian woman. So I don't know what they intended her race to be. So then we have the Owl House, which is another one that's interesting because the main character on the Owl House is Dominican. She's specifically described as Dominican. And to me, she looks black. Once again, she looks like she is black. However, it's a fully Latinx cast, so we'll give that the asterisk, but I do think that she's black. That's one that I actually counted as black. I put an asterisk, but I counted her in my final number as black. And then also a lot of the voice actors on that show are black actors. Black people voice most of the characters on the show. So again, seemed black to me, but alright. And then the final category for Disney is Disney Junior, which is for the preschool age kids. And we have Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, which is just animals. Mickey Mouse and the Roadster Racers, which again is animals. Puppy Dog Pals, which is animals. Vampirina has one black character, which is Poppy Peopleson. Muppet Babies are animals or animal-like characters. Fancy Nancy has two black characters. Little girl named Bree and her mother, who's voiced by Tatiana Ali. And then Tots is animals. The Rocketeers is a newer show, so I couldn't quite figure out if there was a black girl in the main cast. However, Navia Robinson from Raven's Home is a guest starred, or she was a featured star on that show. So I did count that. And then Mira Royal Detective, which is an all Asian cast, an all Southeast Asian cast. There were no black actors, but I don't fault them for having all Southeast Asian cast. So while looking at all those channels, like I said, it's 28 different live action shows. 28 different shows, period, that are airing currently on Disney Channel. Of those shows, only 7 of them have black female characters on them. So let's move to Nickelodeon. So Nickelodeon has significantly less shows currently airing, and it's also because there are less channels. Disney Channel is Disney Channel, Disney Junior, and Disney XD, versus Nickelodeon is just Nickelodeon and Noggin. Nickelodeon has 16 shows currently airing. Of the live action shows, we have All That, which has 2 black characters in the main cast. And then we have Cousins for Life, which has 1 black character on the show, and it's a black show. And then again, like I said, actually I don't know if it's the same girl, but Danger Force is a spinoff from Henry Danger. And it has one black girl on that show. I don't know if it's the same black girl from Henry Danger. Then for animation, we have SpongeBob, which is animals. The Loud House, which has no black characters, is a family of white people, and they have a black male best friend, but there are no black female characters. Ninja Turtles is animals. The Casa Grandes is an all Latinx cast. Again, we're gonna put an asterisk. And then It's Pony has one black female character. And then for the preschool age, that's the Noggin shows. That is Bubble Guppies, which is animals. However, some of those animals are like humanoid, and I would count one of them as a black humanoid character, but the only reason why I did not count her is because I would have to go through all the other shows that have animal humanoid characters and try to decipher whether or not they're coded black, and I didn't feel like doing that. Then we have Blaze and the Monster Machines, and again, those are non-human characters. They are all cars or like trucks and stuff. Shimmer and Shine has no black female characters. However, they are all brownish, so I don't really know what the race is supposed to be. I'm assuming that it's like Asian or South Asian, but it's beyond me. I don't know. Nella the Princess Knight, which is the black preschool show that they have, and Nella, the main character, is black. Sunny Day has a black character called Rox. Butterbean Cafe has a black character called Dazzle, and then Blue's Clues is an animal show. So of those 16 shows, 7 of those have black female characters, so that's a little under half of those shows have at least one black female character. So I guess it's better than Disney. Check you out. All right, and then the final is Cartoon Network. This isn't broken up in categories, obviously, because everything on Cartoon Network is it's cartoons. So there are no live action shows currently on Cartoon Network. Other shows that are currently airing, We Are Bear Bears is animals. The Powerpuff Girls have no black female characters. I do know that they added like Blaze or something. I can't forget Bloom or something. I don't know, to the show. I don't know if she is like a regular character or if it was just for that one special or whatever, and I didn't feel like researching. So there might be a black female character on that show. If that Blaze or Blade or Blossom or Bloom or whatever the character name is still on there. But I couldn't really find anything that showed that she was. And then Ben 10 has no black girls. Apple and Onion are non-human characters. Craig of the Creek has a bunch of black female characters. I didn't feel like going and looking at all of them and seeing all the names, because Craig of the Creek is a black show, or at least I should say has a black lead. So you have like the family characters who are black. I don't think there are any black female characters who aren't related to Craig on the show, but there are black female characters on the show, so that it got counted. Victor and Valentino, again, is a fully Latinx show. Mau Mau, Heroes of Pure Heart, is animals. Gumball is animals. Teen Titans Go. So Teen Titans Go has no black female characters in the main cast. However, Bumblebee has been on multiple episodes. She is not a main character. I would not count her as a main character, but I did want to mention Bumblebee was on the show. And speaking of Bumblebee, DC Superhero Girls, Bumblebee is the only black female character on that show. Unikennedy is, again, non-human characters. Thundercats Roar has no black female characters. The thing about Thundercats, however, is, again, it's those humanoid characters. However, they all do look coded white to me, but that could be an argument, or you can make a discussion that they shouldn't be counted as human because they are cats, but they look human enough to me. And then Ninjago, Masters of the Spinjitzu, are non-human characters. Transformers is non-human characters. Power Players has 0 black characters. Total Dramarama has Courtney, who I think is black, but I don't know that she is specifically coded as black. She is a little sketch. And then Lashana, who is very obviously black. You can tell by the name and the characterization. But Total Drama on Island and Total Dramarama and Total Drama Action, like all those shows, that's a different video about a different topic. And then finally, Bakugan Battle Planet, there are no black female characters. So again, out of the 17 shows that are currently airing on Cartoon Network, only 3 of them have black female characters on them. So that is the worst of the 3, Cartoon Network. So I did the full math to see, okay, what's the percentage, right? What is the percentage of shows? So the answer is 28% of shows on the air for children have black female characters. And like the thing that, like, 28 doesn't sound that bad, right? Because I think black people are like 13%. So black women are probably like 7 or 8% of the American population, right? So 28% is like, oh, that's a lot. But if you think of what I'm saying, right? I'm not talking about the number of characters on TV, period. I'm not even talking about the number of female characters on the show, period. I'm talking about the number of shows that have at least one single black girl in the main cast, okay? So of all these shows that exist, the majority of these shows do not have a black female character in the main cast, right? And the thing is, if I did the math, and I'm not going to that because I don't feel like it, if I did the math for how many of these shows have non-human characters, I'm sure it'll be vastly more than the ones that have black female characters. And that's the problem. Like, we talk a lot about representation, right? And it seems to me that the representation conversation comes to a point where it's like, if we have one, we're fine, right? But the one doesn't matter. So you have shows like, you have your Pretty Little Liars, where you have, you know, your blondes. They actually had 2 blondes, and your brunette, and then you have your one girl of color, right? And you have like 3 white girls and you have 1 girl of color, or you have 4 white girls and you have 2 girls of color, or you have like a friend group of 7 people and one of those people is black or brown or Asian, right? And you call that representation because they have that one, and that one person who is of whatever the race is does not have any friends of their own race to spend any time with, to have any idea. Those people, that one token friend, is divorced from their identity and are used as just a face to say, hey, it's not totally white, we added this brown person. And I feel like that is what's happening with these children's shows, where it's like, a lot of these shows that I named, just because they don't have black female characters does not mean that they're fully white shows, right? A lot of these shows, like I said, there are a bunch of shows that are fully Latinx, right? And I don't have no beef with that. I have no problem with Latinx people having their own representation, Latinx people having Latinx shows that are about Latinx issues, or have Latinx representation and don't include black people. Because when we do shows, when we do black shows, I don't want to have to hear people say, well, why didn't you include this person, or why didn't you include that person? Like, it's perfectly fine for Latinx people to have their representation. Same thing as Asian people. There are a couple of different shows that have Asian representation, that are fully Asian shows, that don't have anybody else but Asian people, and I don't begrudge them that. I don't have any issue with that show. That show, I'm not begging for representation on those shows. The thing that irritates me, that I see a lot, is that shows will have an all-white cast, and I'll see the shows that'll have the one token friend or the one token person of color, and 9 times out of 10 that one token is a black guy. And like, again, I don't begrudge black men for getting representation, but it's really interesting to me that you'll have a black male character that doesn't date black girls, that doesn't have black female friends, that doesn't that we don't ever meet their mom. We don't even, it feels like a deliberate erasure of Black female characters on a lot of these shows. And like, this might be a nostalgic look back at my childhood, but I really feel like I had more choices when it came to who I was going to want to be like, who I was going to look like. Like, of all the shows that I named, I don't think there is, Raven's Home is the only one that has a Black female main character. And like with the show Cousins for Life on Nickelodeon, that falls into the trap of monoracial son with the biracial daughter, and like having the show be about the son and not giving much for the daughter to do. Like, and they did the same thing with the Zendaya show. And while I love Zendaya and I understand why she continued to stay on the Disney Channel, because she said herself, if she would have left Disney Channel when she before that show, if she didn't do Casey Undercover, there would have been no Black girls on the show until I think Bunk started. So like, and then even now with Sky Jackson leaving Disney Channel, once Raven's Home ends, that's really it as far as Black girls on Disney Channel. And I just feel like Disney specifically will give us a Black girl show once every 10 years. Like, we had, I don't think any of them ever like overlap. Like, the only Black girl shows I can think, Raven Home and That's So Raven, and The Proud Family. Like, I can't think of any other Black female led shows on the Disney Channel. And that also is the same thing with Nickelodeon. Like, I don't know of any Black female led show on Nickelodeon ever. Like, ever. Like, I can't think of any show. I guess the closest would be Taina, but she was Latinx. I think she was Afro Latinx, but she was Latinx. So like, I guess All That had a bunch of Black female main like leads on there, but that's different because it was a sketch show. So it wasn't like we were following a single character on their story. Like, it was a bunch of different sketches together or whatever. But I don't know. I don't really know what this. Well, I do know what the solution is to just give Black girls more shows. Let Black girls be leads. Like, I don't understand why Black girls can't be leads. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get what the problem is. And also, I don't understand why you can't let your characters of color have friends of color, have like lives that are informed by their race. Like, I get that, especially on children's shows, you don't want to rock the boat, you don't want to do too much, you don't want to like make things too spicy. However, it's just boring. Like, it's boring to continue to watch these same white kids do these same white things over and over. Like, it becomes cliche, it becomes like repetitive, it becomes like who is this for at this point? Like, and the reason why we get that these shows can't happen is because they don't relate to Black characters, or they can't see themselves in the white characters. I mean, in the Black female characters. But my entire life I've had to watch shows with white main characters and have to make myself identify. Had to find pieces of myself in these white characters. I had to have my identity created through, or my identity validated, I should say, through traits and stuff that I saw in these white characters. And I think that's part of the problem with people who be like, oh, you act white or you talk white, and it's because you've only been able to see white people with those character traits. Like, you've only been able to see those white people have those interests. You've only been able to see those white people who are into that sort of thing. So when you see Black people who do it, or you see Black people who are into it, or you see Black people who like it, it feels weird because there's such a narrow, small, boxed in view of what Blackness is and what Black people are allowed to like or do. And like, this is like turning into a broader conversation about Black representation in general, but my main point is just that we need more Black female characters on TV who are not just there for aesthetics. Like, we need more Black female leads. We need more Black female characters who have like depth and importance to the story. Like, I'm tired of seeing these characters. I'm tired of like bargain basement, like scraping the bottom of the barrel of representation. Like, I'm tired of being at the bottom tier. I'm tired of having to just be like, well, I want. There was a whole thing, a thing where they were talking about like, what was the first time you saw yourself in a character on TV, and like all the Black girls were saying the same characters, because we have three. Like, we have three characters that you can be like, oh, I saw myself in her. And even with my banner on my YouTube channel, like, I specifically were like, I wanted to do a banner of just Black girls in cartoons, because I love cartoons. I've watched cartoons my whole life. I still watch cartoons, and I wanted to do like my favorite Black female characters from cartoons. So I put a bunch, and then I like ran out. I was like, okay, well, let me just look at my favorite shows, because maybe it's a character that I'm forgetting. Even my favorite shows that I would be like, this is a great show, like it was you know, really progressive or really smart or well done or whatever, don't have Black female characters in the main cast. Like, I had to do a side character like Hey Arnold, which is one of my favorite shows, and I will fight to the death that Hey Arnold is the best Nicktoon. There's no Black female characters. Like, it's so diverse. There's so many different. They even went like to specific genres of white people. They didn't just have like whiteness be like it. Like, it was, there were Polish people, there were Russian people, like there were Jewish people. Like, there were so many different kinds of white on that show, along with different kinds of Black. Well, not different kinds of Black people. It was just the one. But like different kinds of Asian people and Hispanic people, and like it was diverse. Whereas there was still no Black girl. Like, the only Black girl that was on the show was Gerald's sister Timberly, and Timberly, I think, maybe had one episode that was about her, and I don't even know if it was really about. Well, I guess it was about her. I won't like split hairs. The episode that I'm talking about, the episode where Timberly wanted to hang out with Gerald and Arnold, or she had a crush on Arnold or something like that. I don't remember. It was about Timberly. So that was the one episode we got Timberly. But it seems to me, 9 times out of 10, if it's a Black girl in the show, she's a family member of the actual lead, or the actual Black character that like we're supposed to care about or supposed to follow. Like, if 9 times out of 10, if there's one singular Black person on the show, that person is a Black male. And I just don't understand why. I don't know. Those are just my thoughts on Black representation in TV. In the comments, tell me if you agree. Tell me if I missed some show that has like great representation of Black girls on like regular cable. Let me know if I'm just forgetting a channel that really does well with Black representation that I'm just not seeing. No one put BET in the comments, because BET does not have anything on currently for children. But yeah, so those are my thoughts. Like I said, put in the comments what you think, if you feel like I'm on base, if I'm off base, if you don't agree, if you agree, whatever. Like this video if you like this content. Probably be doing more like videos about like TV and like stuff like that. I don't know. I lost all my brain cells after this video. I can't put words together anymore. But yeah, new video every Thursday, maybe Mondays and Saturdays, but definitely on Thursdays. And share this video with somebody who share this video with somebody who makes TV. Like, share this video with somebody who is like got a production company and is doing children's television, because maybe they just don't know. Like, maybe they just don't see it. They haven't noticed. They haven't realized. Share this with them, okay? And I'll see you in the next one.